Good evening, children.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, children. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. We finished this one. This was the last sum which we took up yesterday. So here the important thing is about the ratio. We have a line segment AB. The coordinates of A given by 1, 2. I told you yesterday I have to change this. The coordinates of A 1, 2. Coordinates of B 6, 7. There is a point P. See, find the coordinates of a point P on the line segment A and B. Find the coordinates of a point P. This point P lies on the line segment AB. It lies on the line segment AB. So clearly P is the point of division. Clearly P is the point of division. P is the point of division. P divides AB in a specific ratio. P divides AB in a specific ratio. And that ratio is AP by PB. Not anything else. It's AP by PB. The required ratio is AP by PB. AP by PB. We have some ratio given here 2 by 5, but we need to check if this is AP by PB. AP by PB. So you know when you bring this AB down here, with this AB, when you bring it down to the other side, it will be AP by AB. When you bring this to the other side, it comes for division. So AP by AB is equal to 2 by 5. So AP by AB is 2 by 5, which means AP is 2x and AB is 5x. So from this, we can find PB. We know AP is 2x and the full thing AB is 5x. So you can find PB. PB is 5x minus 2x, 3x. PB is the full thing AB minus AP. 5x minus 2x, which is 3x. Now let's find the required ratio. We are interested in the ratio AP by PB. So AP by PB, AP is 2x, PB is 3x. So 2:3 is the required ratio. Now this question, to answer this question, we use the section formula. It's a direct application of the section formula. Section formula is used to find the coordinates of the point of division. So it's a direct application of the section formula. P is the point of division. Using the section formula, we can find the x coordinate and the y coordinate of the point of division. Section formula is used to find the coordinates of the point of division. What is m is to n? What is m and what is n? What is m? What's the value of m? 2. What's the value of n?
3, ma'am.
3. What is x1?
Minus.
Don't see this, children. Don't see that. I need to change this. I told you, no. Made a mistake in typing this here. What is x1? Look at this and tell me. Look at this and tell me, children. What is x1?
1, ma'am.
What is x? Yeah. What is x2?
6, ma'am.
y2?
7.
7. y1?
2, ma'am.
2. So you need to use this. So you know the values of m, n, x1, x2, y1, y2. Substitute in the formula and find the coordinates of P. So P is given by the address 3, 4. See the next one. Point P divides the line segment joining the points A and B. Point P divides the line segment joining the points A and B. So AB is the line segment. P divides this line segment. So P lies on AB such that AP by AB. AP by AB is 1:3. Now answer till here. Now, with this information, what can we find, children? Point P divides the line segment joining the points A and B such that AP by AB is 1/3. Now, with this information, don't read the question ahead. With this information, what can you find?
MNN.
Okay, we'll find MNN, and then using that, what can you find? Using all the information we have, what can you find? All the information.
Coordinates of P.
Yeah, we can find the coordinates of P. We can find the coordinates of P. Or if you do that, draw a line segment AB, A2, 1, mark all this, mark the information given. Tell me the coordinates of P, write on the question. Find the coordinates of P. Take a line segment, one end A, the other end B. Write the address given. Take any point P on it. Ratio is given to you, AP by AB. See if that is the required ratio or you need to find the required ratio. Use all this information and find the coordinates of P. Yes, found the coordinates of the point P.
No, 1 minute I'm doing.
Okay.
Ma'am, the coordinates of point P are
Ma'am,
3,
X is
9.
equal to 3, ma'am.
No, somebody said the coordinates of P. What are they?
3, -2, ma'am.
3, -2. Who is this?
Ma'am, Priya.
Priya. Okay, 3, -2. All right. What's the
Ma'am,
ratio?
X is equal
Priya? What is the ratio?
Ma'am, 1:2.
1:2. Okay, I think that was Shakti. Shakti, yes, tell me.
X is equal to 3, ma'am.
What's the ratio, Shakti?
Ma'am, 1/2.
1:2.
Yes.
Not 1/3, right?
Ma'am. No, ma'am, 1/2.
1:2 is the ratio. Okay, I'm just checking. Yeah, 3 comma. What was it, Shakti? 3 comma?
No, 1 minute. I'm finding the y value.
Okay.
3 comma minus 2.
Yeah, 3 comma minus 2. 3 comma minus 2. And the ratio is 1:2. 3 comma minus 2 is right. Now read the question ahead. If P lies, now we know the address of P. Now we know the address of P. P is given by the address 3 comma minus 2. Now if this point P lies on the line 2x minus y plus k is equal to 0, find the value of k. So we know that if P lies on this line, if P lies on this line, then the coordinates of P will satisfy this equation. If this point P lies on this line, then it will satisfy, the coordinates of P will satisfy this equation. So in place of x, substitute, take 3 in place of x and minus 2 in place of y. Work to find the value of k.
And k is equal to minus
K is
8.
equal to minus 8. Ma'am.
Perfect. Perfect. Minus 8 is correct. So first we need to understand if the ratio given is the required ratio to be used in the section formula. That is very important. Just because we see a ratio there, you just cannot use that as the values of m and n for the section formula. You can always draw a figure like this, take up the line segment, mark the endpoints. This is the point of division, P is the point of division. So the required ratio is AP by PB. AP by PB is the required ratio, which is 1:2. Any questions, children?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, in this question, in what ratio? So the ratio is not known. In what ratio does the point P2, minus 5 divide the line segment joining A and B? So A given by minus 3, 5 and B given by 4, minus 9. So here, look at, let's use this figure here. Here we know the children, I'm using the earlier figure. Okay, so here we are given the address of A, the address of B, and the address of P. With this information, we need to find the ratio. See here, we're given the address of the endpoints A and B. We're given the address of the endpoints A and B. And this point P lies on the line segment AB. The address of the point of division is given. The address of the point of division is given 2, minus 5. You need to find the ratio. You need to find the ratio. Now remember this, children. To find the ratio, we either use the x coordinate of the point of division or the y coordinate of the point of division. To find the ratio, if the ratio is not given and we have to find the ratio can be found using the x coordinate of the point of division or the y coordinate of the point of division. In other words, we can use 2 or minus 5. The x of the point of division, the point of division is P. You can use 2 or minus 5 to find the ratio. Let's see how it works. So incorporate the information given like this in our line segment. So this is given, I hope I've marked it right. P2 comma minus 5A minus 3 comma 5B, all right. So the ratio is what we have to find. So let the ratio be k is to 1. Let the ratio be k is to 1. I'll tell you why k is to 1. I'll tell you. Let the ratio be k is to 1. I told you to find the ratio, you can use either the x coordinate of P or the y coordinate of P. Both will give you the same result. So here I've used the x coordinate of P. The x coordinate of P is 2. The x coordinate of P is 2. And how do we find the x coordinate? mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n. And that is 2. See, this is the x coordinate of P. This is the x coordinate of P. And how do we find the x coordinate of P? mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n gives the x coordinate of P. So see here, mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n is equal to 2. We know the x coordinate is 2. Now work. The ratio m is to n is k is to 1. So m is k into x2. x2 is 4 plus n, it's 1. n x1, x1 is minus 3 by m plus n, k plus 1 is equal to 2. Work this and we find the value of k is 5 by 2. The value of k is 5 by 2. The required ratio is 5 by 2 is to 1 because the required ratio is k is to 1. So 5 by 2 is to 1. Now, you know the concept of equivalent fractions. Now this is a ratio. It's 5 by 2 divided by 1. It's a ratio. 5 by 2 divided by 1. Now, I think as early as in 3rd or 4th standard, we have learned the concept of equivalent fractions. So we know 2 by 3. 2 by 3 is the same as 4 by 6, is the same as 6 by 9, is the same as 8 by 12. It goes on like that. You can write infinitely many equivalent fractions to 2 by 3. That is, you simply multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. 2 by 3, 2 by 3, you multiply the numerator by 4 and the denominator by 4. So 2 4s are 8, 3 4s are 12, 8 by 12 is the same as 2 by 3. So the fraction is not altered when you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. That's what we do here. 5 by 2 is a numerator, by 1 is a denominator. 5 by 2, see, k is to 1, k is a numerator, 1 is a denominator, k by 1. So 5 by 2 by 1, multiply the numerator by 2, 5 by 2 into 2, 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So you'll have only 5 in the numerator, divided by, in the denominator you have 1, multiply by 2, you should multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So 5 by 2 is a numerator into 2. So 2 cancels, we have 5, divided by, in the denominator we have 1, 1 into 2 is 2. And that's how we get this ratio 5 is to 2. So 5 by 2 is to 1, 5 by 2 is to 1, is the same as 5 is to 2. So P divides AB in the ratio 5 is to 2. Remember, you can find the ratio. You can find the ratio using the x coordinate of the point of division or the y coordinate of the point of division. Here I have used the x coordinate of the point of division. Let the ratio be k is to 1. How do we find the x coordinate of the point of division? This is the expression mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n, and that is equal to 2. Simply substitute the values, find the value of k, and hence find the required ratio. I'll this quickly, children.
I have a doubt.
Yes, Shakti.
How we can take the ratio as k:1? I mean, doubting that.
Why you can take, how you can take the ratios k:1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll take this m:1 itself. If you're not comfortable with k:1, we are only fine. Actually, there k:1, we are going to get the ratio in k itself. K/1 is nothing but k, right? We are just assuming the ratio to be k. K:1 is nothing but k. We are finding the value of k, and that itself will give us the ratio. K:1 is nothing but k. K/1 is k. So instead of saying let the ratio be k, we say k:1. We do assume, no, when we do not know the value of something, we do assume let that something
Yes,
be
ma'am.
equal to x, or let that something be equal to y. We do say that. So similarly, we don't know the ratio here. So let the ratio be k. But then it doesn't sound good, no? When you say let the ratio, actually we are calling it k only. Let the ratio be k. K means k/1. Was that convincing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, children, because Shakti asked me this question, you don't even have to assume. If you still feel yk, see, you should be convinced by now. Ratio, when you don't know something, then we just call it as xy. So here we call it k. You don't have to call the ratio k:1. You can just work with the ratio m:1 itself. And then you should solve for m/n. You should solve for m/n. I think I have worked it I must have worked it somewhere like that. Let me show you that and explain. You can even take the ratio as m:1. So when you're working this equation, you will have two unknowns, m and n. You should work m/n. You should find m/n, and you will get m/n is equal to 5/2. We'll see that I've worked it somewhere like that. Let's see that. So here, find the ratio in which, it's very important to read the question carefully, children. Very important. It's very simple. It's very simple. So read the question slowly. As you're reading, you should visualize you should visualize the information. You must see that information in a figure. Find the ratio, okay, in which the point P given by x, 2. Okay, so the point P is the point of division, and we don't know the x coordinate of P. Well, we know the y coordinate of P, that is 2. So we are happy to find the ratio. We need any one of the two. See, we can find the ratio using the x coordinate of the point of division or the y coordinate of the point of division. And here we know the y coordinate of the point of division. So we are happy. It's okay. X is not known, but we have y. Y is 2. With the help of 2, we can find the ratio. Okay, so ratio we found. Find the ratio in which the point P, x, 2 divides the line segment joining the points A and B. Okay, we found 2 because, sorry, we found the ratio because we have 2 there. And then you should find the value of x. X is nothing but the x coordinate of the point of division. Yeah, that's also easy. X is what? mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n. Well, let's do that also. You see here. So let the required ratio be k:1. You can use either the x coordinate of P or the y coordinate of P. But the x coordinate is not known, so you have to use a y coordinate. So the y coordinate of P is 2. My2 plus, see, y coordinate of P is my2 plus ny1 by m plus n. And that is 2. Substitute y1 and y2. This is y1. 5 is y1 and minus 3 is y2. So substitute and you get k is equal to 3/5. So the required ratio is 3/5:1. That's nothing but 3:5. Yeah. Now to get I think you can help yourself, children, till here. Now to get the x coordinate, we should use the formula mx2 plus nx1, you can see it here, mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n, which is 9. I think below here, I don't know why. Okay, this part I need to correct, but how do we, now you tell me, how do we find the x coordinate of P? X coordinate of P. Now you know the ratio is 3:5. How do you find the x coordinate?
Section from now.
Yeah, so 3 into 4. How do we find the x coordinate of P? The ratio we found is 3:5, right? 3:5 is the ratio. So mx2, 3 into 4 plus nx1, 1 into 12 by m plus n, 3 plus 5. Ignore this working here. Ignore this working. Ignore this working here. The answer should be 9. Once you get the ratio 3:5, you can see it here. Once you get the ratio 3:5, now to find x, this is the x coordinate of the point of division, which is mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n. So this is 3 into 4 plus 1 into 12 by m plus n, that is 3 plus 5. See if you're getting 9.
Yes, ma'am. X is equal to 9.
Yeah. So from somewhere else, I don't know. I've just worked it like this. See, when I'm typing, sometimes when I'm not focusing, this error happens. So I'll correct this. Well, I told you anyways how to find the x coordinate of P. X is equal to, this value will be equal to mx2. I'm repeating, you can see your work. The ratio is 3:5. So 3 into 4 plus 5 into 12. So 3 into 4 is 12. And this one is 60. So 72 by 3 plus 5, 8. 72 by 8, which is 9. So the value of x is 9. The value of x is 9. That's all. First, to find the ratio, we use 2. We use the y coordinate of the point of division. Then once we get the ratio, you can answer any question. After finding the ratio, we need to find x, which is the x coordinate of P. mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n. Yes, how will we find the ratio, children? How will you find the ratio? Using what?
Using x coordinate.
Using, so the number is
11, ma'am.
11. What is 11 equal to? Eleven is equal to m
mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n.
Very good. Mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n is 11. So when you work that, you'll get the ratio. You can assume the ratio is k is to 1, or you can just use m and n itself. You can try it now. Use m and n. You'll have to solve for m. Now, for example, see, supposing you get 6m is equal to 5n children. Okay, when you go with the ratio m is to n, you'll get at the end of the working, you'll get 6m. Say, for example, 6m is equal to 5n. So you should find m by n from that. So 6m is equal to 5n. So the n will come for division. 6m by n is equal to 5. So m by n will be equal to 5 by 6. M by n will be equal to 5 by 6. You know it, you can do it like that. Or you can use the ratio k is to 1. Yes, the question is also there. Is it over, children?
Completed, ma'am.
Completed? Okay.
Completed, ma'am.
All right, children. So here you can see how to find y. Like in the earlier sum, we had to find x. Here, how to find y. Y is nothing but the y coordinate of p. Y coordinate of p is y. And what's the formula? My2 plus ny1 by m plus n. m y2 plus n y1 by m plus n will give you the y coordinate of P. So the ratio we got 2:1. When k is 2, that means the ratio is 2:1. K is to 1, 2:1. 2:1 is the ratio. The value of y is 50. If the point P -1, 2 divides the line segment joining the points A 2, 5 and B in the ratio 3:4, find the coordinates of B. So here the address of one endpoint is given, A 2, 5. The address of the other endpoint B is not given completely. You do not know the address of B, but you know all the other things. You know the ratio is 3:4. You know the point of division is P and its address is -1, 2. So you know the address of one endpoint A 2, 5. The other endpoint B we don't know. B we don't know. Ratio we know. Point of division and its address we know. With all this, we need to find the address of P. That is the coordinates of B. B, sorry, not P, B. I won't explain children this. It's actually simple for you. This is the answer. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Ma'am, I'm in doubt.
Yes. What's your doubt?
Can we do in different ratio?
Different ratio. When the ratio is given, how can we use a different ratio?
Can we take as AP by AB and can we do?
No, 1 minute. The ratio is given clearly to be 3:4. Then you don't have a choice to assume anything. It's given 3:4.
14.
So it's simple, children. See, we know the address, or we know the coordinates of P, -1, -2. But how will you find the coordinates of P by the section formula? Mx2, Nx1, M plus N. Use that formula. The coordinates of P. So you have the ratio 3:4. So 3 into x1 plus 4 into x2. Sorry, 3 into x1. This x1 here. 3 into x1. So 3x1 plus there's 4 here. 4 into 2. 8 by 3 plus 4. And the y coordinate will be 3 into this one, y1, plus 4 into 5, 20 by 3 plus 4. So this is the x coordinate of P. This is the y coordinate of P. This is the x coordinate. This is the y coordinate of P. But it's given to be -1, 2. That means the value of this is -1 and the value of this is 2. Equate this to -1, equate this to 2, and find the values of x1 and y1 for -5 and -2. So the coordinates of B are -5, -2. By section formula, this is how we find the coordinates of P. So using the formula. Section formula helps you to find the coordinates of P. And these are the coordinates of P. But we know the coordinates are -1 and 2. So this one is equal to -1. The x coordinate is equal to -1 and the y coordinate is equal to 2. On equating, you get the values of x1 and y1, which are the coordinates of B. So B is given by -5, -2. Minute. Okay. So what is a median? The median is a line segment drawn from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So in this triangle ABC, AD is a median because it's drawn from the vertex A to the midpoint of the opposite side BC. D is the midpoint of BC, E is the midpoint of AC, F is the midpoint of AB. D, E, F are the midpoints of the triangle. D, E, F are the midpoints of the sides of the triangle ABC. Now AD is a median because it's a line segment from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. BE is a median from the vertex B to the midpoint of the opposite side. CF is a median drawn from the vertex C to the midpoint of the opposite side AB. Now you can see that the medians go through the same point. This is called the point of concurrence. The three medians A triangle can have three medians. The three medians in any triangle, the three medians are always concurrent. They pass through the same point, and the point of concurrence is called the centroid. The point of concurrence is called the centroid. Now, median need not be perpendicular to the base. Median need not be perpendicular. It need not make an angle of 90 degrees with BC. It need not make an angle of 90 degrees with BC. Here, this one need not make 90 degrees with AC. This need not make 90 degrees with AB. Only altitudes make 90 degrees with the base. These are medians. A median is a line segment from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Medians are always concurrent. The three medians, they go through the same point. And that point is called the centroid of the triangle. And it's generally represented by the letter G, capital letter G. G stands for centroid, or the letter G is used to represent the centroid in a triangle. Now, the very important property is that the centroid divides the median in the ratio 2:1. That is AG by GD. See, take up the median AD. Look at the median AD. Look at the median AD. Okay. G lies on AD. Does G lie on AD?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now G is the point of division. Don't see the other line segments. See only the line segment AD. See only the line segment AD. Now G lies on AD. Yes. And G, so G is a point of division. Now G divides AD in the ratio 2:1. 2:1. That is AG is 2 parts, GD is 1 part. Now, in fact, the centroid divides every median. The three medians, all the three medians. The centroid divides all the three medians in the ratio 2:1. Now apply the ratio 2:1 for this median BE. Tell me.
BG is to EG is 2:1.
Yeah, BG is to GE. BG is to GE is equal to 2/1 or 2:1. Then the other result. Which is the other median?
CF.
CF is the other median. And does G lie on CF?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, G lies on CF. And the centroid G divides the line segment CF in the ratio 2:1. So which segment is 2 parts and which segment is 1 part?
CG is 2 parts.
CG is 2 parts and GF is 1 part.
Yeah, CG is 2 parts and GF is 1 part. So it's always 2 parts from the vertex to the centroid, 2 parts. From the centroid to the midpoint, 1 part. Always like that. From the vertex to the centroid is 2 parts. From the centroid to the midpoint is 1 part. So see here, from the vertex to the centroid, 2 parts. From the centroid to the midpoint, 1 part. From the vertex to the centroid, 2 parts. From the centroid to the midpoint, 1 part. So the result is the centroid divides the median in the ratio 2:1. The three medians in a triangle are concurrent, and the point of concurrence is called the centroid. Similarly, in a triangle, the three altitudes. Altitude again is a line segment from the vertex perpendicular to the opposite side. Median is to the midpoint of the opposite side. Median is to the midpoint of the opposite side. Altitude is also a line segment drawn from the vertex perpendicular to the opposite side. So like medians, a triangle has three altitudes. The altitudes are also concurrent. The altitudes also will pass through the same point. And the point of concurrence is called the orthocenter. Orthocenter. Altitude is a line segment from the vertex perpendicular to the opposite side. A triangle has three altitudes. The three altitudes are concurrent. That is, they pass through the same point. And the point of concurrence of the three altitudes in a triangle is called the orthocenter. O-R-T-H-O, orthocenter. Orthocenter. How many angles does a triangle have?
Three, ma'am.
3 angles.
Three angles, ma'am.
3, ma'am.
Can the angles be bisected? Can the three angles be bisected?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
the three
ma'am.
angles can be
Yes, ma'am.
bisected. The angular bisectors. The three angles can be bisected. The angular bisectors, that is the bisectors of the three angles, they also will pass through the same point. Just think of the three angles. They're bisectors. The angular bisectors, they also will go through the same point. And that point is called the incenter. Incenter. When you bisect, take up one angle, bisect it. So you get a ray. Or you can, if you produce it on both the sides, you can call it a line. Take up the other angle, bisect it. Next angle, bisect it. Pull the lines. So they'll all go through the same point. So the point of concurrence of the angular bisectors in a triangle is called the incenter. How many sides a triangle has?
3, ma'am.
3 sides.
Yeah, three sides can. So you can draw the perpendicular bisectors, no, of the three sides. You can draw the perpendicular bisectors. Yeah,
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
draw the perpendicular bisectors for the three sides. For any line segment, you can draw a perpendicular bisector. Now these perpendicular bisectors are also concurrent. They also will go through the same point. They'll pass through a point. They all have the three perpendicular bisectors. They have a common point. They have a point in common. They'll pass through the same point. And that point is called the circumcenter. Circumcenter. So we have centroid, orthocenter, incenter, circumcenter. Centroid, point of concurrence of the medians. Orthocenter, point of concurrence of the altitudes. Incenter, point of concurrence of the angular bisectors. Circumcenter, point of concurrence of the perpendicular bisectors of the sides. The point of concurrence of the perpendicular bisectors of the three sides of the triangle. Okay, so here find the lengths of the medians AD and BE. You can see the figure here. This is a triangle ABC. Vertex A 7, -3, vertex B 5, 3, vertex C 3, -1. AD and BE are medians. See AD. BE. These are medians. That means D is the midpoint. E is the midpoint. E is the midpoint of AC. D and E are the midpoints. AD median. That means D is the midpoint of BC. BE median. E is the midpoint of AC. Okay, find the lengths of the medians. That is, we have to use the distance formula to find the length. To find the length of the median, you need to use the distance formula. To find the length of AD, you need the coordinates of A and the coordinates of D. See, if you want to find the length of the median AD, you need the address of A and the address of D. Then distance formula, square root of difference between x coordinates the whole square plus difference between y coordinates the whole square. Root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. Okay, so to use the distance formula, you use the distance formula to find the length of a line segment. So here you need to find AD. You can find that using the distance formula, but you need to know the address of the endpoints. The endpoints of AD are A and D. You need to know the address of A and the address of D. Address of A and address of D. We know the address of A, but we don't know the address of D. How can you find this? D is the midpoint of BC. So use the midpoint formula to find the address of D. Use the midpoint formula, x1 plus x2 by 2, y1 plus y2 by 2. Use the midpoint formula and find the coordinates of E. Similarly, use the midpoint formula and find the coordinates of E. D is the midpoint of BC. So x1 plus x2 by 2, 5 plus 3 by 2, comma 3 minus 1 by 2 will give the coordinates of D. And for E, again, same thing, add the x coordinates. E is the midpoint of AC. So add the x coordinates of A and C. 7 plus 3 by 2, comma, minus 3 minus 1 by 2. Why we using the midpoint formula? Because AD is a median. So D is the midpoint of BC. So the coordinates of D and E can be found using the midpoint formula. After finding that, use the distance formula to find the length of the median AD and BE. Just a minute, children. Any doubts, children? Any questions here?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right. So it's not that we are as we take D and E as the midpoints because AD is given to be the median. If AD is the median, that means D is the midpoint of BC. If BE is the median, then E is the midpoint of AC. And we find the coordinates of D and E using the midpoint formula. So which are the x1, y1, x2, y2 coordinates? D is the midpoint of BC. So you must use the coordinates of B and C to find D. Similarly, E is the midpoint of AC. You must use the coordinates of A and C to find the coordinates of E. So 7 plus 3. 7, add the x coordinates, 7 plus 3 by 2, x1 plus x2 by 2. Simply add the x coordinates and divide by 2. 7 plus 3 by 2, comma, add the y coordinates, minus 3 minus 1 by 2. Similarly, do for D, find the coordinates of D and D, and then use a distance formula. To find AD, you must use the coordinates of A and D in the distance formula to find AD, the length of the line segment AD. Similarly, to find the length of the line segment BE, you must use the coordinates of B and E. So this is an application of the this is how we use the midpoint formula. This is how we use the midpoint formula to find the coordinates of the midpoints. See another application here. The three vertices of a parallelogram ABCD taken in order are given to you. Find the coordinates of the fourth vertex D. A, you know, A, B, and C, you know the vertices. Sorry, you know the coordinates of A, B, and C. You need to find the coordinates of D. So see, the property here we're using is in a parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. In a parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. That means they have the same midpoint, both the diagonals, AC and BD. For both AC and BD, O is the midpoint. O is the midpoint of AC. O is also the midpoint of BD. That means when you find the so since O is the midpoint of AC, you can use the midpoint formula to find the coordinates of O. But you can also use the coordinates of B and D because O is also the midpoint of BD. So you can also use the coordinates of B and D to find the midpoint, to find the coordinates of the midpoint O. So equating these two, we can find the coordinates of D. See here. Look at this one, children. We'll read this later. Don't read this now. Look at this. See the figure. See the figure. You can see A 3 comma minus 4, B minus 1 minus 3, C minus 6 2, and the fourth vertex we don't know, so we've called it A comma B. Now we know that in a parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. O is the midpoint of AC. So see this, children. O is the midpoint of AC. So how will you find the look at this side? What are the coordinates of the midpoint of AC? Coordinates of the midpoint of AC. The midpoint of AC is O. How will you find the coordinates? X1 plus X2 by 2, Y1 plus Y2 by 2. That means 3 minus 6 by 2 and minus 4 plus 2 by 2. Add the X coordinates, divide by 2, add the Y coordinates, divide by 2. This one. How will you find the coordinates of the same point O using B and D. Again, x1 plus x2 by 2, minus 1 plus A by 2, minus 3 plus B by 2. But both will be the same, right? Because you're using A and C and finding O. You're using B and D and finding O. But O can have only one address. That means this address will be equal to this address. So like this, equating, we can find the values of A and B and find the coordinates of the vertex D. I'll give you 5 minutes time. Please read everything. Midpoint formula. X1 plus x2 by 2, y1 plus y2 by 2. X1 plus x2 by 2 will give the x coordinate. Y1 plus y2 by 2 will give the y coordinate. Yes, finish. Yeah.
If we are cross multiplying minus 1 plus a into 2, we are getting a is equal to 8 only.
Okay, this one. Here is it.
Yes.
I've cancelled the denominators. 2 and 2 gets cancelled on both the sides. 2 and 2.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, 2 in the denominator here and 2 in the denominator here, they get cancelled. Even if you cross multiply, you should get the same answer. Yeah, when you cross multiply with 2, then you will get minus 2 plus 2a is equal to minus 6. Yes, but your final answer will be the same. A is equal to minus 2. I have cancelled out the 2's on both the sides. So very simple, idea or very simple method this is. The property is O is the midpoint of AC, O is also the midpoint of BD, which means you can find the coordinates of O using A and C or using B and D. But it's only one point O, so it will have the same address whether you're going to find O using A and C or B and D. The address is the same. So that's what we write here. Coordinates of the midpoint of AC. Coordinates of the midpoint of AC is equal to the coordinates of the midpoint of AD. Why both are equal? Because it's the same point O. It's the same point. So using A and C, use A and C and the midpoint formula. Use A and C and the midpoint formula. Use B and D and the midpoint formula. But you know the address is the same. That means the x coordinate here is equal to the x coordinate here. The y coordinate here is equal to the y coordinate here. Equate. On equating, you get the values of A and B. So children, in a parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other. Now you know that a rhombus is a parallelogram, a rectangle is a parallelogram, a square is a parallelogram. Everywhere you can use this property. Just a second, children. Yeah, children. So I was telling you, whether it is a rhombus, rectangle, or a square, all these three are parallelograms. A rhombus is a parallelogram in which all the sides are equal. A rectangle is also a parallelogram. See, a parallelogram is a quadrilateral in which both the pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That's all. There are many other properties, but given a quadrilateral, okay, given a quadrilateral, if you have to show that it's a parallelogram, if you can prove that both the pairs of opposite sides are parallel, then it is a parallelogram. Opposite sides are parallel, so it's a parallelogram. So when you take a rhombus, opposite sides are parallel. So it is a rhombus because it has some more special properties. A rhombus can be called a parallelogram because opposite sides are parallel. A parallel, in fact, a parallelogram in which all the sides are equal is a rhombus. Why is it called a rhombus? It is a parallelogram, but all the sides are equal because in a parallelogram only opposite sides are equal. In a parallelogram only opposite sides are equal. Now in a parallelogram when all the sides are equal, it's called a rhombus. So a rhombus is a parallelogram. A rectangle. A rectangle is a parallelogram. A rectangle is a parallelogram in which one angle is a right angle. A rectangle is a parallelogram because in a rectangle opposite sides are parallel. So it is a parallelogram. Now in this parallelogram, if one angle is a right angle, so that is, see, it's kind of tilted. If you just straighten up, if these are, you know, vertical, it becomes a rectangle. That is, if one angle is 90 degrees. If one angle is 90 degrees, automatically all the angles will be 90. Because when A is 90 degrees, C will be 90. Opposite angles are equal. And in a parallelogram, adjacent angles are supplementary. So if this is 90, this will be 90. And if B is 90, D is 90, because again opposite angles are equal. A rectangle is a parallelogram in which one angle is a right angle. In fact, all the angles will be right angles. And a square is a parallelogram in which all the sides are equal and one angle is a right angle. When one angle is a right angle, all will be right angles. All the other angles will be right angles. So remember that a rhombus is a parallelogram. A square is a parallelogram, a rectangle is a parallelogram. So in all these figures, the diagonals bisect each other. In a parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, square, everywhere the diagonals bisect each other. So please listen carefully. If it was given like this, the three vertices of a rectangle ABCD, find the coordinates of the vertex D. Same procedure. This is given to be a parallelogram here. If it is not a parallelogram, if it was given to be a rectangle or a rhombus or a square, same procedure. Because in all these figures, the diagonals bisect each other. So the procedure is the same, whether it's a parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, or a square. For a situation like this, where you have to find the coordinates of the fourth vertex, the procedure is the same. See you, children. So here I've written the coordinates of O using AC. Here I've written the coordinates of the same point O using BD. Okay. Yes. Try this, children. Do it in the same way. Do it like this. Write this one first. Coordinates of the midpoint of AC is equal to the coordinates of the midpoint of BD. Work this. Write this as the equation and find the answer for this one. You can draw a diagram. You can represent it in a diagram. You can draw a parallelogram. Call it ABCD or PQRS. Found the values, children, of x and y?
Doing nothing.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, x is 4 and y is 10.
X is 4 and y is 3.
10, ma'am.
No, x is. Please, sorry, come again.
X and y is 10, ma'am.
No.
Ma'am, x is equal to 8 and y is equal to 4.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Y is 4, ma'am.
Correct. Correct. X is 8 and y is 4. No problem. We'll see maybe some calculation error. See here. So start like this. Coordinates of the midpoint of AC. Coordinates of the midpoint of AC is equal to the coordinates of the midpoint of BD. Because O is only the midpoint of both. So the midpoint of AC, the coordinates of the midpoint of AC is the same as the coordinates of the midpoint of BD. Just ignore this one. So how will you find using A and C? X plus 3 or 3 plus x by 2, comma 7 plus 3 or 3 plus 7 by 2. Just a minute, children. I'll let you know. So to find the coordinates of O using AC, 3 plus x by 2 or x plus 3 by 2, comma 3 plus 7 by 2 or 7 plus 3 by 2. This is the x coordinate of O. This is the y coordinate of O. If you use B and D, 6 plus 5 by 2, comma y plus 6 by 2 or 6 plus y by 2. Simply add the x coordinates, divide by 2, add the y coordinates, divide by 2. But since they're the address of the same point O, they'll be equal. So just work this, equate the x coordinates, equate the y coordinates. So x plus 3 by 2 is equal to 11 by 2. 2 and 2 gets cancelled in the denominators. X plus 3 is equal to 11, x is equal to 8. Here 6 plus y by 2 is equal to 5. Equating the y coordinates, 6 plus y by 2 is equal to 5. Cross multiply and the value of y is 4. Ignore this, just ignore this one. This is not relevant. Therefore, the midpoint of AC is this not relevant. You need to write this and then work this. Yes, if you didn't get 8 and 4, please get your doubts clarified. Doubt or doubts clarified. Mostly you would have gone wrong.
It was calculation mistake.
Yeah, okay. I think we can go to the next one. Anyone still working?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let D, E, and F be the midpoints of the sides BC, CA, and AB, respectively, of triangle ABC. Find the coordinates of the vertices A, B, and C. Find the coordinates of the vertices A, B, and C. Let me explain this, and then you can work it by yourself. All right. So you can see here, children. So triangle ABC. Triangle ABC. The triangle is ABC. So you can see the triangle ABC. We don't know the coordinates of the vertices A, B, and C. So x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. D is the midpoint of BC. Be very careful. D is the midpoint of BC. D is the midpoint of BC. E is the midpoint of CA. E is the midpoint of CA. And F is the midpoint of AB. F is the midpoint of AB. Okay. And they are given to you. D, E, F. The address of D, E, and F given to you. D, E, F. Be careful to mark the points D, E, and F on the correct sides. Okay. Now, given this information, we need to find the address of A, the address of B, and the address of C. Very simple sum. So see here. What is x1? Answer carefully. I'm not saying any, I'm talking with respect to this figure. When I say x1, x2, I'm talking with respect to this figure. Now tell me, children, what is x1 plus x? Okay, let me ask something else. What is x1 plus x3 by 2 equal to? What is x1 plus x3?
E, ma'am.
No. X1 plus x3 by 2 is equal to what?
Ma'am, -3, ma'am.
-3. X1 plus x3 by 2 is equal to -3. Now tell me then, what is y1 plus y3 by 2?
1, ma'am.
1.
1, ma'am.
1. Like that, tell me for the others, children. What is x2 plus x3 by 2?
Ma'am, 3, ma'am.
3, ma'am.
3. Yeah. What is y2 plus y3 by 2?
-2. ma'am.
-2.
Minus 2. minus 2 because we're using the midpoint formula. And then x1 plus x2 by 2 is equal to
4, ma'am.
4. y1 plus y2 by 2 is equal to
Minus
Minus 3.
minus 3. So like this. Now let's come from here. Now these are the different results we have. Now x1 plus x3 by 2 is equal to minus 3. When you cross multiply, you will get x1 plus x3 is equal to minus 6, correct? x1 plus x3 is equal to minus 6. Because x1 plus x3 by 2.
Yes, ma'am.
x1 plus x1 plus x3 by 2 is equal to minus 3. On cross multiplying, you will get x1 plus x3 is equal to minus 6. So like this, you will get 6 equations. But on cross multiplying, now all that which we just discussed, when we cross multiply, in all we'll get 6 equations. 6 equations we'll get. We'll get 3 in terms of x1, x2, x3. We'll get 3 others in terms of y1, y2, y3. Okay, now see your children. This is what we just discussed. So now on cross multiplying, you get x2 plus x3 is 6. On cross multiplying this, you get y2 plus y3 is minus 4. So like that, write out the different results. So this is called 1 and 2. Write out the different results. Then cross multiply, call them 3 and 4. Again, these two results cross multiply and call them 5 and 6. So like this, you have 6 equations. You have 6 equations here. This is in x2 and x3. The first equation is in x2 and x3. The third equation is in x1 and x3. And the fifth equation is in x1 and x2. Add these 3. See, I told you, we have 6 equations in all. In all, we have 6 equations. 3 of them are in x1, x2, x3. And the remaining 3 are in y1, y2, y3. What you do, all those in x, add those equations. So here 1, 3 and 5 have x in them. Add the 3 equations. What will you get? What will you get when you add these 3 equations? Add the LHS, add the RHS. Tell me the result. Children, I'm waiting.
2x1 plus.
Yes, 2x1 plus
1 plus 2x2 plus 2x3 equal to 8 is coming, ma'am.
is equal to 8. Yeah, is equal to 8 because 6 and minus 6 will get cancelled. So 8. Yeah, correct. 2x1 plus 2x2 plus 2x3 is equal to 8. Simply add, children. Add equations 1, 3 and 5. You have x2 2 times. You have x1 2 times, x2 2 times, x3 2 times. 2x1 plus 2x2 plus 2x3 is equal to, when you add the numbers in the RHS, you get 8 is equal to 8. So take out 2 common. What do you get when you take 2 common? 2 of x1 plus x2 plus x3 is equal to 8. So what is x1 plus x2 plus x3?
4, ma'am.
4. 8 by 2, 4. Okay, now you got x1 plus x2 plus x3, right? It is 4. x1 plus x2 plus x3 is 4. But you know that x1 plus x2 is 8. Okay, let us find from, okay, fine, any order you can do it. Now you know x1 plus x2 plus x3 is 4. but x1 plus x2 is 8. So substitute x1 plus x2 is 8. So 8 plus x3 is equal to 4. Correct? 8 plus x3 is equal to 4. x3 is equal to 4 minus 8, which is minus 4. So like this, substituting, you can find the values of x1, x2 and x3. The same you should do for y1, y2, y3. Tell me what, when you add equations 2, 4 and 6, what do you get? Please tell me what you get when you add the equations 2, 4 and 6. y2 2 times, y1 2 times, y3 2 times.
Ma'am, 2y1
2y1 plus
2y2
2y2
plus
y3
2y3
is equals
plus
to
2y3
minus 8.
minus 8.
Is equal to minus 8. Correct. On taking 2 common, you will get y1 plus y2 plus y3 is equal to minus 8 by 2, which is minus 4. That's all. So here, children, you will get the values of x1, x2, x3 separately. Then you will get y1, y2, y3. Put them together and find the coordinates of the vertices A, B, and C. You will get x1, then you will get the value of x2, you will get x3, you will get y1, y2, y3. Now put them together. Put x1 and y1 together. They will be the coordinates of A. Put x2 and y2 together. Coordinates of B. Put x3 and y3 together. Coordinates of C. That's all. Please go through the working. See, you can work it. Just have a look at the complete solution and then start working.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, I didn't get the last step. That
Last.
using 1, 3, and 5 with 7 we get.
Yeah, let me check. Using 1, 3, and 5. Yeah, we get. Let me. Yeah. So using 1, 3, and 5 with 7. Where is 7? This is 7. x1 plus x2 plus x3 is equal to 4. This is 7. We'll use 1 in this. We'll use 1 in this. What is result 1? x2 plus x3 is 6. Now x2 plus x3. x2 plus x3 is 6. Just imagine a 6 here. Instead of x1, x2 plus x3, imagine a 6 here. So you will get x1 plus 6 is equal to 4. x1 plus 6 is equal to 4. So x1 is equal to 4 minus 6, which is minus 2. x1 is equal to minus 2. Now let's use 3 in 7. Let's use 3 in 7. That is result 3 in 7. Where is result 3? Here. x1 plus x3 is equal to 6. x1 plus x3 is equal to, sorry, minus 6. So instead of x1 plus x3, don't write x1 plus x3, use minus 6. So you will get x2 minus 6 is equal to 4. Because x1 plus x3 is minus 6. So you'll get x2 minus 6 is equal to 4. So x2 is equal to 4 plus 6, 10. Try the next one, Narna.
Okay, ma'am. Should I say it here?
Yeah. Just to, oh, okay. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Got it, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Yeah, then fine.
We are substituting two values to find the third value for each case. Like
Correct. Yes. This is not the only way to do it. You can also do it like this, Arnav. So see here, after getting the value of x1, x1 is minus 2. Once you get x1 as minus 2, you can just see here. Now x1 plus x3 is minus 6, right? Now we know that x1 is minus 2. You can substitute minus 2 here. You can substitute minus 2 here, and x3 will be equal to minus 6 plus 2, which is minus 4. You can do it in different ways. I'm saying like after you get x1, you can take up this equation which has x1 and x3, and you can substitute the value of x1, which is minus 2, and get the value of x3. Then you can come down to this equation, which is x1 plus x2 is equal to 8. x1 plus x2 is 8, but we just found x1 is minus 2. So substituting the value of x1, you can find x2. Like that also you can do.
okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So we'll get the, you don't have to, this is enough if we just write this using 1, 3 and 5. See, all the steps that you see are, I have not missed any step. These steps are sufficient. These are the steps that you need to show as a student. No step has been omitted. This is sufficient. You can simply write this using 1, 3 and 5 with 7 we get. You can just write these values straight away. Because the substitution and that calculation is very simple. You don't have to show them. So now you get values x1, x2, x3. Then here you get y1, y2, y3. Put them together. Put x1 and y1 together. Minus 2, 0, coordinates of A. Then x2 and y2, 10, minus 6, coordinates of B. Then put x3 and y3 together. Minus 4, 2, coordinates of C. All right. Completed, children?
Ma'am, I am in doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, for finding that x1, x2, x3, we can substitute in one variable. We can find out.
Okay, I think you said substitute after getting x1, substitute in some other equation, is it? It was very noisy.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what I said. After substitute, once you get x1, x1 is -2, you can substitute in these equations also. You can substitute x1 here to get x3, and you can substitute x1 here to get x2. That's what. No problem. You can later send a voice note on WhatsApp and get it clarified. Don't worry. Please do that. Any doubts, children, with this one?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, take a screenshot. You can finish this yourself. Take a picture of this one. Take a screenshot. Yes, take a screenshot of this one also. Finish this in your notebook by the next class. Yeah, this one also. Try to complete this. Yeah. Now this maybe we'll do it in the next class. You can take a screenshot. If you can follow this, you can complete this. We'll take up this one in the next class. But now that I've shown you the slide, you can take a screenshot, and if interested, if you understand the answer, you can complete this. All right, children. So that's it for today's session. If you have any questions, you can stay back, children, else you may leave the meeting. Let me check 1 minute. Oh, very few students have joined today. Class, yeah, see some. Use the emoji, raise your hand. Yes. Very good, very good. All right, children, that's great. So we have Aksharam, Priyadarshini, Dakshan, Shakti, Muttuvel, Harshita, Anish, Nafi, Lakshita, Hariharan, Shriya, Tirunesh, Shivani, Priya, Sudarshan, Arnav, Parkavi, and Srinivasan. So looks like exams are happening. So more than 10 of, I think 8 of us have not joined. All right, children. So that's it for today's session. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please stay back.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night, children. Thank you.